Namo Dhamma Shi So Ye Jedang Zoge Chonang La Janju Manu Nani Gyamsu Chi Dangi Chunye Kibe Tonangi Yola Venje Sangye Juba Sho Jedang Zoge Chonang La Janju Manu Nani Gyamsu Chi Dangi Chunye Kibe Tonangi Yola Venje Sangye Juba Sho Jedang Zoge Chonang La Janju Manu Nani Gyamsu Chi Dangi Chunye Kibe Tonangi Yola Venje Sangye Juba Sho Xie Bege Shu Shime Dogan Rali Shini De Kembadi Sange Shido Mide Buaye Drogi Nanda Shida Juba Sho Guru Rana Medala Kandiya Daya Mi Please adjust your sitting posture according to the 7 meditative posture of Vairocana. Think, all sentient beings have been my mothers. All sentient beings have been my mothers not just once, but numberless times. All sentient beings are as kind as my mother in this life. Even though all kind mother sentient beings want happiness and do not even want a small suffering, due to mistakenly engaging with objects of adoptions and abandonment, they do not experience any happiness but suffering. In our minds, sincerely generate loving kindness towards all kind mother sentient beings by thinking, how nice it would be if all kind mother sentient beings were to have excellent happiness and the causes of excellent happiness that are virtues. May they have excellent happiness and its causes. I will cause them to have excellent happiness and its causes. Lama deity, please bless me to be able to do so. Next, we cultivate compassion towards all suffering mother sentient beings by thinking, how nice it would be if all mother sentient beings were free from all suffering and the causes of suffering that are non-virtues. May they be free from all suffering and all causes of suffering. Our freedom from all suffering and the causes of suffering. Lama deity, please bless me to be able to do so. Next, we cultivate bodhicitta. First, we ask ourselves, who should take the responsibility to free all mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and lower realms? I should take the responsibility to free all mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and lower realms. Even though I should take the responsibility, I do not have the ability to place them in the state of perfect, complete enlightenment now. Who has such abilities? Only those perfect, complete Buddhas have the abilities to do so. Therefore, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, by all means, I will achieve the precious state of enlightenment. Next, we meditate on emptiness for a short while. The self and the aggregates neither exist as inherently one nor inherently different, thus is empty of inherent existence. Set a good motivation. For the sake of all mother sentient beings, I will achieve the state of enlightenment. For this, I will listen to the holy teaching and practice properly in order to benefit sentient beings. More good there. Verse 29, it says, nature, cause, result, function, possession, manifestation, state, and similarly the meaning of all pervasiveness, immutability, and indivisibility of qualities are said to be the intended meaning of the ultimate basic element. Come number tabati yunden ju yo. Come number tabati yunden ju yo res. Number tabati number tabati ro. Number tabati duare. Ju yes. That's it. You rest about the work. Number tabati ju. 가자파야다 차 기고 이나 디파야다 차 되부 지에다 제 넘버다 나게 줄고 누가 해서 나게 줄 그래서 그래서 넘버 줄고 해서 그래서 So here we are under the outlines of establishing the basic element to be pure by nature by way of 10 presentations, and the 10 presentations refer to nature, cause, result, function, possession, manifestation, state, all pervasiveness, immutability, and indivisibility of qualities. 딱지다 원만 마블레브레스 데로와 원 마치도 마블레브레스 다 마치슈나 담봉 오디들이 다 오디 간다 니빙오 녜진하스 와 니비 이거 니빙오 녜진하스 오디 녜진하스 다 오디를 봐 된다들이 니빙오 녜진 봐 누가 오 니빙오 녜진하스 오디시샤 맞아. So regarding these 10 presentations or 10 aspects, in later part of this text, after this verse, then we will still see these 10 aspects again and again. So first, we are going to talk about nature. So first, to identify the entity of essence. Number songs in the Budua. That and then what the songs of the other, what the Bayodi, Takana, Ranji Chugu, the Hini, reach a tesson shower, they say. What Ranji Chugu, Chini, taking reaching the sun. And one number tesson of So to identify the entity of essence or nature of essence. So here the text says, nature refers to the Tathāgata essence in its 3 aspects, So the three aspects refers to nature, truth, body. Second, suchness. And the third one is lineage.
Tama jishi wale, tama digi mandwani, ta jyodirwa, ta tamba mwa da dosi chi, ta jyodir kanda, dimashi madu bini mo nanchi jyone kanda, lawa ina, ta rangi nini la soba tisari, chishi jyo shangurwa, rangi nini la soba yinchi. Ta tsuo kan namba taba shi jyo, kawai, ta di nichi tse sayo pa di su jyo.
Zegen di ro aisha. Oh, di ngoi mati.
Odi. 다저 칸나바 다바시 좀 니모 라칸다 다 메발라서 봐 시와 어디 소리 해서 거다 와
칸나바 다발라
소 칸나바 다바시 죠 전에 다 니모라 메발라서 봐 디바 친구라 메바 띵인지 셔로서 요아 어디 소리 해서 간다 준로 칸나바 다시 죠
메바 당건다 유시요라 마발라서 봐라
메발라서 봐 띵인지 셔로서 뭐 요아
That's all. And the causes, cause, so the second one is cause, refers to devotion and so forth. So which are the causes for the activations and purifications of the three aspects. So cause refers to devotions, wisdom, meditative stabilization and so forth. So again, this will be a revisit. So we will revisit this later.
That's one rāngā kī rindā shimā, sō rōwa, rīpa rāngā kī rindā shimā dā, tā nīmbō nāmbā tāpi, rōwa, rīpa tsū, tā chīku shīngi lō, yī, rōwa, tā kāndā, nīmbō nāmbā tāpi rīpa tī tsū tī, tā chīku shīngi lō, shī lōpa dā wāli mā lē kare, chīpa rāngī nī rī chī, shīngi lō shī tāpa sā kāndā, tsaṁ tī tātā shī pārā dā shīmā tī rē kāndā, chīku shīngi lō, tā tī tsaṁ tī tsaṁ wā, tāpa tā tī ngā sū tsaṁ tī tātā tī shīndā tā tī sīm chā kumā chī tāng 와, 어쩌다 원 말리그래. 님보 넘버 답인 제부데 다또 치고 신질로 이게 놓았어. 다 치고 신 상대 따다 시보데 타도 파로도 신바세. 파로도 신바데 데려다. 다데 원 말리그래. 저는 저희 원 말리그래 와. 다데 가나 다 쳐봐. 라기 내리지. 제부 做 원이고. 라기 내리지 와. 라기 내리지. 제부 做 원이고. 진주지리지. 제부 수군이 했어. 수군이 다 지나 지인들 보셔거나 다 군조서부터 지인들부터 샤고 그래서 와 감디기로 지인들부터 샤고 그래서
지대부에나데
군조서 와
대부 군조서
나 지금 군조서도 배 디소 마보시 컴데 저다 니레 시现在 민들서 지에서 뭐 쉬자로 와 어디 지인들부터 군조서 그래서
So the third one is result. So result refers to the fruit of attaining the perfections of purity and so forth. So by the purifications of basic element through the practices of devotion. So perfections of purity. So here there are four perfections. It involves four perfections. So the four perfections are perfections of purity, the first one. And the second one is the perfections of bliss. The third one is perfections of permanence. And the last one is perfections of self. So regarding these four, which is purity, bliss, permanence, and self. So you may have heard this before. So however, in this context, it's different. So however, again, we will revisit this later. So when we talk about this result, so result is having purified the essence, then the general result of having purified the essence will be the resultant three bodies. And in particular, having overcome the four errors with regard to Dhammakaya, then the result of naturally abiding lineage is the nature truth body, and the result of developmental lineage is form body.
다 들려지나 나도 장이 내리지 이제부 원이 버리에서 진지지 진저부터 수고해서 너와 니나 다 들려야 되는데 간다 장이 내가서 이시 초고다 수군이다 티모마이 비죠 레렐레오와 다 티모마이 비죠 다 티모마이 비죠데 다 이시지 초다 선나지 초고세 되니래 버리 뭐뭐 이죠 다 이시 주고 로 이시 주고 토야게 주도다 이시지 초차는 이시지 초 다 이시지 초차는 다랑 이니리 예 대라 공부시 봐 공비 이시대 다 간다 원이고 이시지 초래
장신내지
랑 이니리라 공비 이시지 로와 다랑 이니리 공비 이시대 내 간다 이시지 초래 다 이시대 라제 가르스는 되버데 내 원이 무엇이 다가 차고 그 이시지 초와 이시지 초 라제데 간다 뒤에 남도 죽고 원이고 와 다 진주들이 된 아주 세는 조사 같이 지시사로와 다 정보다 ninj라서 봤다 리기 시비스나 군에 군도 배하게 된지세는 조사해야 되와 된지세는 조사해 되긴 되버데 내가 간다 다다 수군이 차고 농구 듣고시 좋아 수군이 차고 그래서 내가 저 세는 또 사비 납제들라 이제 부디 수고 이 소대 또 사비 납제들라 다 죽고시 원이 뭐데
còn là cái là thằng ấy đi chế bu xe cái là đi chỉ chế bu na con cho sum ra rồi yan chế bu con cho sum mà rồi
지 고대 진행되는 그래서 다 된다 집어라
된다 맞아 so the general result is the three jewels or the general result is the resultant three jewels so probably you have this before let me share
这我这就是我的这我这个就是但说了嘛小的这个说差不多对吧是吧这我现在就是单
con cho sum chỉ bỏ Yep. So the general result is three jewels. Then when we talk about this naturally abiding lineage and also developmental lineage, so here it talks about the uncommon cause for wisdom truth body and form body. So the uncommon cause for wisdom truth body is the collections of wisdom, and the uncommon cause for form body is the collections of merit. So through like such as wisdom, meditating on the naturally abiding lineage. So this wisdom, this wisdom meditating on the naturally abiding lineage, and through these, one accumulates collections of wisdom, and through the collections of wisdom, the result of it is naturally abiding lineage. Sorry, the result of collections of wisdom is wisdom truth body. And then through the cultivations of loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta, then one will accumulate the collections of merit, and through the accumulations of merit, the result of it is form body.
야 조야게 토자의 가르치는 냠대들 와 시벌을 제도네 다 토자들라 상도 토자의 냠대들 와 냠대 다 다주 맞들 와 냠대 대연대 토네 다 대토바시 다 쳐봐 랑이 내리데 다이 주사 랑이 내리래 이 소소디 진지지를 생각 소사바시 그래 다 실례로 실례 어디 다 되는데 와 실례서 왔더라 간다 리중하게 시비기 제도네 예미다니 내가 대봉아 봉아시 봐 대봉아시 봐라 토자 가르 속에서 토자 명대들 와 토자 명대 명대들 돈이 토바시 봐 어디 쳐봐라 이일이 되더라
The next one is function. So by the power of the lineage, the faults of existence, having seen the faults of existence and abandoned it, then one will, what objects of attainment will one attain? And it will be the qualities of Nirvana. So having seen the qualities of Nirvana, then one adopted or attained it. Then in particular, through the naturally abiding lineage, the collections of wisdom is accumulated, and through the developmental lineage, the collections of merit is accumulated. So this is similar to the previous one result. So here we are talking about functions, and it's quite similar to the explanations of result.
다 답이 인지비 윤대군다 된바지 다 칸넘바 답이 인지비데 윤대군다 된 해서 칸넘바 답이 인지비 윤대군다 된바지 와 어디를 해서 된바지 어디.
So fifth is possession. So it possesses all the qualities of the causes that purify respectively on the three occasions, as well as the results of purity. So the purity of the basic elements is one will possess results together with all the qualities.
다 두번 주고서 들어와. 다 두번 주고서 다 님보라 소소 지원한지 신기 로바다. 다 파바는지 신기 로바다. 신기 몰로바 지리바. 요래서 다 파바는지 간다. 다 이것이 님보라 요데 간다. 라는 오가지 관자 뻥바다. 마법바 지리바 요래서 들어와. 뻥바다 마법바 지리바. 다 조비 상진하지 양다바 신기 몰로바 다 뜨면 코는 주는 거래서 보러. 저반은 다 렌지 저반은 거래와. 렌지 저반은
So six is engagement. So in our text is translated as manifestation. It's translated as manifestation. So the ordinary beings are mistaken about the essence. So regarding these manifestations or engagement, so ordinary beings are mistaken about the essence. And then they are respectively Arya beings who are mistaken and are not mistaken about the essence. So Arya beings who are mistaken and not mistaken about the essence means that they are Arya beings who have abandoned their respective objects of abandonment. So therefore, it says they are respectively Arya beings who are mistaken and not mistaken about the essence. And then the third one is complete Buddhas who solely engage in the essence perfectly and correctly, that is free of elaborations. So there is free of elaboration means that they are that is free of elaborations of true existence, true grasping, free of elaborations of true grasping. So just like pouring water into water. So regarding all these possessions, the manifestations or engagement and etc. So we will talk about this in detail later. So seven is occasion. So the occasions when sentient beings' essences are impure. Bodhisattvas or Arya Bodhisattvas' essences are respectively pure and impure. And complete Buddha's essences are extremely pure. So extremely pure of defilements. Not only defilements are pure. So not only are defilements are purified, also the imprints are purified as well. So number 8 is omnipresent. So yeah, Yeah, so probably is better to use the word all pervading instead of omnipresent for number 8. So the general characteristics is pervading all. The general characteristics of the basic element is pervading all, and its specific characteristics are respectively those with defilements are impure. So it refers to ordinary beings whose reality or real nature of the Tathāgata essence with defilements. So those with defilements are impure means that those refers to those ordinary beings. With defilements means that their real nature or reality of the Tathāgata essence with defilements, so are impure. And those without defilements are pure. So those without defilements refers to the Buddha ground. Refers to the Buddha ground, so who are purified of all defilements. So that's why it says those without defilements are pure.
어디 고가 들어와. 다 고바디 문주와 들어와 문주와. 유아메 봐. 다 문주와 정나시 통치다. 네버 로보알레. 죽 말레스 당아도 유아요 마시고로와. 유아 누구 말레스. 또 윤지 랑이지 뎀발레 문주와. 랑이지 뎀발레야. 진주와게 요 말레스와. 유아 누구 말레스. 땅에 보나 세상보다 난달레 문주와 마서 뭐보데 가다 세상보다 number tabalin juwa sente rangista number tabalin juwa ngonjuwa ke yoma sigurwa dina shire goro yebona se zambota nandali mjuwa rangi yesa number juguma rest la derwa da cheba chega na chila soba kandi chuma ina juwa no sigurwa chega na chila soba da ngame na te mjuwa ta reswa da chugula soba te mjuwa reswa.
Number 9 is unchanging or unchangeability or immutability. So as if you follow our text, then it can be translated as immutability or unchangeability. So in general, it remains unchanged by adventitious faults, and in all former and later moments, it remains unchanged from being naturally endowed with qualities. It remains unchanged from being pure. So it remains unchanged from being pure, then which is like a refined gold, so which is unchanged from being pure. So using this as a metaphor, and then in particular, it remains unchanged by birth, aging, sickness, death, and so forth. And the last one is it remains utterly unchanged, which is like a non-functioning thing.
다 간다 주인데 간리이나로 다 간다 장기데 매바다 모예메 찹디에 서만 집바 찹디에 서와 모예메레스 집바 히도 난다 이나 로 쳬바도 다 장기 남바데 동안데 다 인데 강가라 예메 집바 찹디 맞은 같이 주인바 에 상지지주 진이다 에 신지지주 진이서 모예메 집바레스 모예메
생기규 이춘이다 샘진규
진이서 모예메 집바레스 모예메 집바레스 뭐로와 모예메 봐 다 집바 김난다 이나 윤데 rangi ngoye ma kipa chi jang res ta ko so bona ja pen da yo ma sta de yo ma wa so chuku lo ku tu so ki den sala chuku da lo tu so khari de de na de da wa sa wa ni yo ma da wa yo ma wa pen da wa yo res wa.
Yeah. So the last one is indistinguishable or indivisibility. So it says, in general, the qualities by nature are indistinguishable. In particular, the qualities are indistinguishable within the extremely pure sphere, and the three bodies are also undifferentiated from each other or indistinguishable from each other. So as we mentioned before, the reality or real nature in the continuum in the continuum of Buddhas and the real nature in the continuum of sentient beings are the same. So in being indistinguishable. So and the three bodies are also undifferentiated from each other. So the three bodies, when one attains one of the three bodies, whether it is a truth body or enjoyment body or form body. So once one attains the body, once one attains the three bodies, then these three bodies are undifferentiated from each other.
좀 매발라서 송야 다게 제가 지고라 매바 매바다 뜻이 대시로 송샤고요 괜히 송보대 다 칸송보대로 맞아 되기 칸송시고요 원송시에서봐 대 송보대 다바시비조래 해서 대 송보대 다바시비조 종화시비조래 해서 와 다바시비조다 종화시비조래 해서 와 다바시가 종화시비조래 맞아 대 송보대 제바 제지지죠 소리야 말이에요 대 송보대 제지지죠 말이에요 와 대스모데 지지 좀 말해 지지 중에서나 대 니시 장고 주다 지 니가 배 니시를 장고 와 뭐 지지 좀 말해서 지지 좀 말해 아바시비죠 아바시비 대스모데라 때비죠 넘바 샤데 가르스나 대스모데 넘바 아바시비죠 yes 아바시비죠 뭐 데레마도 네가도 지지 좀 장고 말해서 정말 된다 데레다 데도 아바지리 한테 가도 와
So when we talk about cause, then we say that except for the unconditioned, the cause of essences is the individual substantial cause and so forth. So the cause that mainly purifies the basic element is inclination towards the essence and so forth, right? So in our text, instead of using the word inclination, then it's translated as devotion. So devotion is towards the essence and so forth. So just now we also mentioned that besides devotion, then other causes are meditative stabilization and wisdom. So these devotion, meditative stabilization, and wisdom are causes that purifies the three basic elements, or are the causes that purifies and cleanses the three basic elements. So devotion, meditative stabilization, and wisdom, then they are the causes that purify and cleanse the three basic elements. So these three, the devotion, meditative stabilization, and wisdom, they are not posited as a cause that produce the three basic elements, or the two basic elements, because if they were posited as causes that produce the basic elements, then it will be they would be posited as cause and conditions, and then that would become that will result in it will makes it become a condition instead of unconditioned. Because they again they shower na they because come they do je cha ge lo.
제제 차는
기자 차 아니 they again
제제는 니시 차는 거라
come they yang do je cha ge lo. 이네 come ina they do ma je lo. Yeah. So if these three causes were perceived as causes that produce the basic elements, then the relationship between these two will become the objects of productions and that which produces. So if this were the case, then you will mix basic elements. The basic element would become a condition. So, however, basic element is unconditioned.
다 디월만이다. 다가서 디월에 다 소시 제가 시원 말레오레와 다 양자 말레오레
배찬하라.
그래서 디월와 다 rinchen 가 최다기 다도 정신 님은 메시도와 어디는 뭐라고 된다 치료와 어디 딜마 디디셔이와 된다 도도지마
So under the topic of nature and cause, then individual explanations. So then we go to verse 30, first two lines. It says, its nature is always unafflicted, like the purity of a jewel, space, and water.
다 들어와 간다 디와시니 뭐 들어와 다 간 디와시니 뭐 간다 rumbo치는 난가도 최다바 힘도 시바 제고 해서와 다들 진짜 진짜 뭐 들어와 디와시니 뭐 rumbo치는 난가도 최다바 힘도 시바 제고 해서 내 간다 시바 제고 해서 내 다다랑 이지 년 보면 니루리에서 등아도 찌点嘛들어와 찌点嘛맞아 찌다 랑기 진이다 소소진에서 지와 어디 찌기 통에다 들이 찌기 돈 디와시니 뭐데 다가나 rumbo치는 난가도 최다바지도 시바 잡으래 내 임지서 다다랑 이지 년 보면 니루리에서 내가 드시고요.
So the meaning of these two lines, its nature is always unafflicted, like the purity of a jewel, space, and water. So then the subject, Tathāgata Essence, should be understood as like the purity of a gold, like the purity of a jewel, space, and water. So the subject, Tathāgata Essence, should be understood as being like the purity of jewel, space, and water, because because it is constantly in the modes of abiding without natural afflictions. Is constantly, because it is in the modes of constantly abiding in the abiding without afflictions, without natural afflictions. So this it is constantly is in the mode of constantly abiding without natural afflictions is the general characteristics. So just now we talk about general characteristics and specific characteristics, and this is the general characteristics of Tathāgata essence.
大多让一句对打把子，但让一打把子的给这些我说话，大多让一句打把子，对你们把没比你路的时候给了我说话，大多让一句打把，大让一为啥真的对中国的，大多让一句打把的是吧？大多让一句打把的，他看到你让一句打把是的，那萝卜就种嘛，等他对出来的果果，萝卜就种嘛，这么多，那你们把没比你路的是吧？大多让一句打比，那你们让一了。 年把要买的需要买的时候，大多让一打把手段，让一打把手段，就让一个年把要买的时候，年把需要买的时候。
So he says that is in the modes of constantly abiding without natural afflictions, right? So when he says is in the modes of constantly abiding without natural afflictions, so this means that it is naturally pure, it is naturally luminous. So naturally luminous, another translation for this is it is luminous by nature. So through saying that it is without natural affliction, so he indicates that it is naturally pure, is naturally luminous, and implicitly or indirectly, he says that the defilements are adventitious.
好，等到这当做你这段学生在让你他吧，让你越少的当做别难看的什么的教的话，难看的让起来准备要嘛的时候吧。 能看的让起了正把有需要嘛的是，让起了正把需要嘛的是，但能看了本正把的我说萝卜的是能看了是，这两毛的能看了让起了正把要嘛的是，能看个让起了正把需的呢，都能看就肯定呢，正把有把就嘛多，这正把怕怎么吃，能看怎么吃没法是吧？有嘛的，能看个让起了正把要把呢，这大家能心讲说，去让起了要把要嘛的是，去让起了，这去让起了要把呢，这去肯定呢，去怎么说也要嘛的是。 去装嘛啥也要嘛是吧？那这个，但谁个让起来也要嘛，等等的，谁让起来也要嘛是，谁让起来也要是呢？那我讲呢，谁说的？那呢，对，当我说有时找吧，谁是不要修的时候了，对，有的修的时候，那谁就让你的了，也修着呢，那谁个有老师话这里的，怎么说要嘛，有几个老师话这里说对要嘛的，我到这个东西来，我当我是看的，是吧
？So when we talk about the basic element, so which is naturally pure or naturally luminous, then it is illustrated by three examples. The first one is the space. So space, the nature of the space is free of clouds. So it means that cloud is not mixed with the nature of the space. If clouds were mixed with the nature of the space, then whenever it is, the space will have clouds, or there will be clouds in the space. So if space were mixed with the nature of the space, and then the second example is water. So the nature of water is free of mud or free of dirt. So, and if dirt were mixed with the nature of the water, then there will be no way to clean the water or purify the water. So since dirt or mud is mixed with the nature of water. And the third example is gold. So the nature of gold is we talk about pure gold, right? So pure gold. So the nature of gold is free of defilements or free of sediments. So free of sediments. So if sediments were mixed with the nature of gold, then there will be no way that one can get a pure gold.
really chida che sumba jaro sta to jihe ro ma le ro ta de tawaro kaduro so so che na se tawaro to gol ma jindo jiwate to china chugo ne rumbo che da degi ni na ga da really chida che sumba he se
chugo ni rumbo che
ode ida gi chi chi ma sha sarwa ta de so so chi ro.
So just now we talked about the general characteristics of the basic element, right? So next is the specific characteristics. So the truth body is truth body shares similarity with the precious jewels with truth body shares similarity with the precious jewels. Suchness shares similarity with the space, and lineage shares similarity with the water. So here we talk about the specific characteristics, right? So then I say that truth body shares similarity with the precious jewels, suchness shares similarity with the space, and lineage shares similarity with the water, right? So it talks about truth body, suchness, and the third one is lineage. So at the beginning of the class, we also talked about the divisions of elements. So whenever we talk about the divisions of elements, then we will always talk about these three divisions. So at the beginning of the class, and we say the nature truth body, or you can say truth body. So, and the second one is the suchness, and the third one is lineage. So we must keep in our minds that the divisions of basic elements are these three. So next two lines of verse 30, it talks about cause. So he says, it arises through devotion to the Dharma, supreme wisdom, samadhi, and compassion. So regarding this devotion to the Dharma, supreme wisdom, samadhi, and compassion, these are the four causes. So the subject, essence free of defilements, is not without method. So it's not without method means that the arising of such essence that is free from defilements, there is a method to attain it, or there is a method for it to arise. So because the first one is a devotion to the Dharma, or devotion to the Mahāyāna Dharma. And the second one is supreme wisdom, right? So wisdom, supreme wisdom, realizing the modes of abiding. And the third one is samadhi, or meditative stabilization. Then the sky treasury, meditative stabilization. So when we talk about this samadhi, in English is meditative stabilization. So the sky treasury meditative stabilization is one of the cause. And the last one is compassion. So compassion then is likened to a nurse. So it arises from the nurse of compassion. So this essence, free of defilements, there is a method for it to arise, and the methods are these four causes. Jimbala Wang Tobe, Sa Tangbo. Sa Tangbo di Togiro, and it is Sato Tambo di Toa, and they Nago getting in the Togires. So the third cause is sky treasury meditative civilization, right? So here it talks about when one attains the power over generosity, then one will attain the first ground. When one attains the first ground, one will attain the sky treasury meditative civilization. So next outline is extensive explanations, and the meaning of nature and the meaning of cause. And first we talk about the meaning of nature. Under this outline is verse 31. It says, because of having power, because being unchangeable, and by nature moistened with compassion, it resembles the qualities of a precious jewel, space, and water. So here he talks about So just now we talk about this. The truth body is the truth body shares similarity with the precious jewels, right? But we didn't mention what is the reason that is likened to a precious jewel. So in this verse is going to talk about the reason. So the subject truth body or nature truth body shares similarity with the precious jewel because it possesses the excellent power to accomplish whatever one's desire or the desired goal. So because of this reason, truth body or nature's truth body is said to share similarity with the precious jewel. That's all. And the second one is suchness. So the subject suchness shares similarity with space. because it is because it is the sphere of unchanging. So because it is the sphere of unchanging. So it is a sphere of unchanging means that when we talk about sphere, sphere also refers to refers to reality or real nature. So when we talk about this yin or sphere, it usually is translated as sphere, then it refers to the real nature or the reality, chen. So because it is the sphere of unchanging. So when we talk about space, space is unchanging. It will not change to something else, and it will not go through momentarily changes. So therefore, we say that the suchness is suchness shares similarity with the space. And the third one is lineage. So lineage, the subject lineage, it shares similarity with water because it is in the nature of moistening by compassion towards sentient beings. So because of this reason, therefore, the lineage is said to share similarity with the water. So because it is in the nature of moistening by compassion towards sentient beings. So next we go to verse 32. Okay. So next is the kinds of persons with the obstructions and the obstructions themselves. So so then verse 32, first 4 lines, it says animosity toward the Mahāyāna Dharma, view of self, fear of the sufferings of samsara, and lack of concern for the welfare of sentient beings are the 4 obstructions of those of great desire, ṭīkās, hearers, and the self-reason.
Nimbo Tongana Gigi Tomas, that come the watch of Nimbo the Tongana Gigi Tomas, the Nimbo Tongana Gigi, but another Tongana Gigi, Tuma number she, Daron you know the Tong, the Gigi Tipa number she, the Chibi, and the Chibi, Kanda, Tipa Chibi Chela, Kunto, Shedanda, the Bachi was Gila, the Chibi, Gila, that you have Tipa Chibi Chela, the Chela, Kunto, Shedan Hasen. Kunto Shedama, the Nigan Dabashin Bologora, Kunto Shedama, Kunto, Lichi. That Modibi Jula, if you consider data tower. Roa, Negi Jula Yapa, that Koi Dunga in Jibas. It is a Koi Dunga engineer kind of Tabata in the New York, Koi Dunga, Nimi Hatan in Jitachi Jiba. That on you, Mansadi Jula Yapa, that's in Jitana, Deba Miba, Randi Jambala, the Digi, Ranjibu, Jambala, the Digi, Lord Sopa, Dogwa. Or their dog, that they sheet the hero to be sheet teach, that they motivate us for getting much show.
So here he says obstructions, right? So obstructions means that these 4 obstructions hinders one from seeing the essence. So these 4 obstructions hinders one from seeing the essence. So here it says those of great desire. So in the continuum of animosity towards the Mahāyāna Dharma exists in the continuum of those with great desire. So animosity. So you can here is 1, 2, 3, 4, and here 1, 2, 3, 4 again, right? So you link the 1 to 1, 2 to 2 similarly. So animosity towards the Mahāyāna Dharma exists in the continuum of those with great desire or those of great desire. And the second one is view of self. So view of self of person exists in the continuum of ṭīkās, and fear of sufferings of samsara. So fear of samsaric suffering exists in the continuum of hearers. So therefore they strive for liberation, right? And the fourth one is lack of concern for the welfare of sentient beings. So lack of concern for the welfare of sentient beings exist in the continua of solitary realizers, and they act for their own welfare. So these are the four obstructions. The first four: animosity, anger or hatred toward the Mahāyāna Dharma, and view of self, fear of samsaric suffering, and unconcern with the welfare of sentient beings. These are the four obstructions that hinders one from seeing the essence. So the second one is the view of self of person that exists in the continua of ṭīkās, right? So the view of self of person, so here refers to their positions, which is a person exists as permanent, partless, and independent. Permanent, partless, and independent. So to talk about the first attribute, which is partless. So partless means that it doesn't depend on parts. It doesn't depend on parts. It is partless. It is established as partless. And then the second attribute is permanence. So permanent means that it doesn't go through the production, and it is not subject to production and disintegration. It is permanent. So their position or their assertion. And the third one is independent. So independent means that it doesn't depend on cause and conditions. So therefore, it is independent for them. So this view of self is also called the self with three attributes or three qualities. So view of self of person refers to this view of self possessing these three qualities that exist in the continua of ṭīkās. So then we go to 132 EF. So then it's an antitotal class. Antitotal causes. Then these two lines says the cause of purifying these is the four dharmas, such as the superior devotion and so forth. So these four antitotal causes are the four causes that purify defilements. So it says the cause of purifying these is the four dharmas, such as a superior devotion and so forth. So these are the four causes that we mentioned just now: superior devotion towards the Mahāyāna Dharma, meditative civilization, compassion, and wisdom. So, and through these four causes that purifies the defilements, one will attain the ultimate basic element, which is nature, truth, body. This subject is carry pinyu. Niembo de shiguro. Pinyu shiguro. That's all. So then we go to verse. Niembo de ro. Pinyu de shiguro. That's all. Yeah. So next we talk about the benefits of these four causes that purify the defilements. Then we go to verse 133. So then he says, those who have the seed of devotion to the Mahāyāna Dharma, whose mother is the wisdom that gives birth to a Buddha's truth body, who abide in the womb of blissful concentration, and whose nurse is compassion, are the heirs to succeed the subduers. Yeah. So if one possesses these four dharmas or four qualities, then one will become the children of the Dharma King. So these four causes, in this verse that you can see that the devotion to the Mahāyāna Dharma is likened to a seed, or using the metaphor of seed. Then wisdom that gives birth to a Buddha's truth body is using the analogy of mother. And the blissful concentration using the analogy of womb. And compassion is using the analogy of nurse. And then when one possesses these four causes, then one will be the one will become the heir to succeed the subduer. It means that one will become the children of the subduers. In other words, one will become the children of the conquerors or children of the Buddha. So, so the subject Arya Bodhisattvas is the children of the subduers because it has the seed of devotion towards the supreme vehicle, and then because it possesses the wisdom realizing the modes of abiding that give rise to Buddha's qualities, that is like a mother, and because one possesses because one abides in the womb of bliss of concentration, such as the sky treasury concentration. So abiding in the womb of bliss of concentration means that one's mind is single-pointedly abides inwardly, and one's mind is not scattered outwardly. So then that is what it means by abiding in the womb of bliss of concentration. And the last one is one is cared for by the nurse of compassion. So it means that one possesses compassion that is with the analogy of nurse. So one is cared for by the compassion. Because of having these four causes, one will become the children of the conqueror or Dharma king.
That thing about the Montoya and Dodi Maluji Kandapua, Chula, the Basavi Swati. That kind of Dodi Jigulu done to Shiburi, that they may have to Tibet, Tamu, Tibet, Chibilla, never Sua, the fish out in Kology, Jabi City, something down. Yes, Kology, Jabi City, Kology, Jabi City, that's something down the rest of Makanda. And Kology, Jabi City, that's when it's more. Kology, Jabi City, something down the rest. That along the hero sword, that matter was a money hero parasol. So, Made hero sword, Tumo injuries, so Tipasunga and Tumo injury. To a hero sword, Mother Pishas, Mother was a money hero paranda, hero parasiman, money hero paras, Tan Palakipa, Pan Talakipatis. My hero than Doa, what did? Did not hear the mother door, yes. Madeline was a bit, and was a Chuguina, some of the Mado and Chibua, Amatil, was Jidim to the Amatalina, to Poo, the sources some of Poo Mambo Yavana, Poo Susu, some of the Mado, Mambo Yugua. What time was the sheriff over there? The sheriff in Chumu Juchari, sheriff was in New Data, and the Tibetan Samaru, the sheriff in Hana, Tabata, Hana, Jibutata, Toya, it is here that kind of mother, yes, we did it. The kind of Ninja was a top of Pala, Talaki, but Tadu, Tan Timo manages or Tassima, Timo manager. That Chamada Ninja so thought Zilmazo to put Chibi Timo maybe Juchadua, to put Chibi Timo maybe Juchadamato, begin the dinner and absolute Timo and Luyoma. It's a Luyoma. Well, this was a dish.
So first is the devotion towards the Mahāyāna Dharma. So the devotion towards the Mahāyāna Dharma is likened to a seed that give birth to the children of the wheel-turning king. So this devotion towards the Dharma is likened to a seed because it gives rise to, or it gives birth to a child of a wheel-turning king. So this is a devotion towards the Mahāyāna Dharma. And the second one is wisdom. So usually when wisdom is likened to a mother, and then when we talk about this wisdom being likened to a mother, then there's one famous quotation is that the mother is the wisdom, and the father is skillful in means, being skilled in means. So mother is the wisdom, and father is being skilled in means. So this why do we say that wisdom is like a mother? Because it is a common cause of the three vehicles. So it is a common cause of hearers, solitary realizers, and bodhisattvas. So since it is a common cause for the three vehicles. Therefore, wisdom is said to be like a mother. So, and then in general, when we talk about a mother, then mother can give birth to children and to kids, to children's, and then each of the children's have their own way of thinking, right? So similarly, this wisdom is likened to a mother because it is a common cause of the three vehicles. So the different children refer to those hearers, solitary realizers, and bodhisattvas. And then the third cause is compassion. So compassion is part of the method. So it refers to the quotations that I mentioned just now. The father is being skilled in method, right? So compassion is included within the method, and it is the uncommon cause to attain the state of enlightenment because it is uncommon to hearers and solitary realizers.
어디 올라가서 드립을 키우다. 나가서 치고도 토야 그 드립을 와. 치고 토서 일단 드립을 가지나. 드립을 시우는 드립을 다 쌈데 데다 따는지 연대 바로 신분 드레스.
장다.
시간이 도와. 쌈다 들어와. 쌈다 데다 따는지 연대 바로 신분 드레스. 대신 시간이 되면 뒤셔요.
So next verse is verse 1, 2, 4. So here it says, explanations of results. So concerning the fruits and the functions. So these first two lines talks about result. So the results of having attained the truth body. So he says the perfections of the qualities of purity, self, bliss, and permanence is the result.
어디서로 다 디월딩이다 다 레르와 미지더와 다 레르 간다 용의 인주 시도바 닌다 멤비 레전 호세 와 다 디마셔이와 실레드 시우다 실레드와 간다.
And then next outline is function. Here first talks about result, then the second two lines is under the outlines of functions. So he says it has the functions of being wary of suffering and the intention and aspiration to attain peace.
다디들이와 간다 대신님보데 다 간다 실레드 딘바레스 된 거의 등에지 인종아 시원 냠게 줘봐 된 딘바데 멤비 레제레스 와 실레드 딘바데 단 거의 동안에 간다 인종아 시원 냠게 토바라 단 딘바다 집에 면 제대로 레제레스 와 어디레스 보다 간다.
So all these, just now we talk about causes, now we talk about result, functions, and etc. So this links back to the 10 aspects that we mentioned at the beginning of the class. So now we are on the third, which is function. So it says it has the functions of being wary of suffering and the intention and aspiration to attain peace. So the subject, Tathāgata Essence, it possesses functions. So because it has the functions to give rise to repulsion by samsaric suffering, and it gives rise to, it gives rise to inspiration and wish to attain peaceful nirvana. So here it says functions of being wary of suffering. So this is the first function. So the subject, Tathāgata Essence, has functions. So because it functions to generate repulsion by samsaric suffering, and it generates here it uses intention and aspiration, right? So in another translation for this is inspiration and wish. So to generate inspiration and wish to attain the peaceful nirvana.
당어서 들다 다디 올라가서 님부시 토빈 지비친 지시와 신도와 님부시 들어와 님부시 토비단 지비친 지시와 들 싸워서 시오디 다 싸워서 들어와 단단 되는 도디나 취지고라 신기로 넘바 실에 도바이 님비라도 치와 니시 어다 디쇼로가 진도 님마디 디시야이스와 님부시 토비고 지시와.
So then next we go to verse 135. So this is under the outlines of characteristics of the results gained by the four antidotes, a general explanation. So under this outline is verse 35. It says, in summary, the result of these four causes is distinguished by the four antidotes that oppose the fourfold misconceptions regarding the Dhammakaya.
다들 간다 쳐라 매발라서 봐. 이다기 단 제분도 디바이나 다 치지고라 신기로 넘바 길도 비미비라도 치와시 이니리에 에세 간다와 다들 엔제비시 도야 다 신기로는 간다 마다 동아 다음에 마장인 디시지 맞아 나지 수수 지오기 길라 맞아 동아 좀 치지지 마다봐 얘네 좀 마장와라 장와 다음에 봐라 다도 두바다 누가 동아와라 대와 무타발라 따바세 인진이 시지로야 디기제 말데디 디디 나시 말데와 디가서 신질로 실파 타두가 따바지를 보러 맞아 우리 비추고와 치고도 신질로 시대 미다바 주고 미다바 동아 다음에 마장이 디 대신질로 치 대바 신질로 실파 도비 파로도 신발해서 이 장이 파로도 신발다 얼마 내가 지나와 이 장이 파로도 신발해서 와 장이 파로도 신발해 따비 파로 신발해서 그래서 원만 레벨과 저 원레벨 된다들이 누마 이 누마 소소 지어가서 동아들 지지지 못하와 니네 지금 뭐더라 마장와 신지스 신주로 시시고야 네 말다 얘 지금 말이 네 가갔다 어디 제일 말이었다 또 원만 레벨.
So here you says fourfold misconceptions, right? Fourfold misconceptions. So fourfold misconception regarding the Dharmakaya, then these fourfold misconceptions refers to because of the purity, bliss, permanence, and self, view of self. So, and these four is you may have this before. So usually we translate it as a clean. Regarding the four misconceptions, the first one is regarding unclean as clean. The second one is regarding miserable as happiness, or the suffering as happiness. And the third one is misconceptions regarding impermanence as permanence. And the last one is misconception regarding selfless as having a self. So, and here, these, even though the wordings, the terms are exactly the same, however, these fourfold misconceptions that we talked about in the context of ordinary beings is not the same as the fourfold misconceptions that we are discussing here. So even though the terms are exactly the same, and here are the fourfold misconceptions regarding the Dhammakaya. And through opposing or overcoming these fourfold misconceptions, then one attain the perfections of purity, perfections of permanence, and so forth. So when we go through this, the following parts, then you will see these terms, perfections of purity, and so forth. So these four misconceptions sometimes translated as four errors, four misapprehensions, and so forth. So we must as long as we understand what these four refers to, then so there are different words or translations. So these are the results of these four causes, which is distinguished by the four antidotes that oppose these four misconceptions. So then next is verse 36. And then these are the outline is the results, individual explanation. So there are two verses under this outline. It says, because the Dhammakaya is pure by nature and has abandoned the adventitious defilements as well as the imprints, it is the perfections of purity. It is the highest self, having pacified the elaborations of self and selflessness. So It is the perfections of bliss because of having reversed the aggregates of the mental nature and their causes. And it is the perfections of permanence as it realizes samsara and nirvana to be equal in nature.
다디 월마시오 다디 강시야 다들 말레고래 다 지치 지시 다 치지 고대네 상황에서 바로 신바 이 스타트 도와도 말레고 와 지치 가르치 다 치지 고로 치지 고대와 지고대 상황에서 바로 신바 이인세 다 치지 고대네 상이 바로 신바 해서 당 가서 뭐 수수 쪼가는 게 시야디 뭐 상황에서 와 예를 고대 뭐 상황 진들시 때 로바디시 고와 상황 진바데
공부대
예를 고대 뭐 상황 하기를 이나 상황 진바데 신도 신기로 차디로 상황 진바데 신도 신기로 다들 수수 쪼를 마찬가지로 와 다다다디 딜샤야 와 다들 주주 고대 먼저 상이 바로 신바 해서 와 다시 간배 뭐 상황 진디시 신기로 시샤이도 다시 간도 다 동아 다음에서 뭐 상이 인디시스 시와 신기로 시샤이도 와 다들 주주 고대 상이 바로 신바 해서 인급이 준세의 가르래 다시 시오다 장이 프로젝트 말때 준세 가르나 다 랑지지 그러와 랑지지 용서 다 반지래 그러와 장이 프로젝트 말때 랑지지 용서 다 바레스 랑지지 용서 다 바마지 간다 님모 비와 마리 바차 님모 마리 바차 되바 님모 바차 탄지 세바 pom바레스 님모 바차 되바 사마 세바 pom바레스 그 pom바스다 장이 거래스 다 장이 거 그러와 장이 거래 다 무장 말이스로 그러와 무장 말이스 다다지 거는 무장 디시바 신주로 자기도와 어디로와 다 장 말이스 이거 단도도와
So
랑이 용스다 유스니도와 그러와 마체 님모베 바차다 제바 사마방 말이스 세바방 말이스 그 세바방 선자 데데레스 다 간다 장이 펄치 말이스로
So due to what cause and conditions that did we say that do we say that the truth body is the perfections of purity and so forth? So again, in the context of ordinary beings, there are four areas or four misconceptions that regards contaminated aggregates, which is unclean as clean. So this is not the same in this context. Here we are talking about truth body or nature's truth body. So here we say that due to what cause and condition do we say that truth body is the perfections of purity and so forth. So the subject truth body is the perfections of purity because it is naturally pure and it has exhaustively abandoned in all the imprints of ignorance and afflictions. So because of these two reasons, therefore we say that truth body is the perfections of purity. So it means that the truth body is naturally pure or is the perfections of purity. In other words, it's the perfection of purity.
어디로와 다들 주고된 거 니바다 다 니바도 주고되와 다 주고되 다 담비 다 담비 바로 심말이에서 다 간다 간다 담바데 간다 담에 받는다도와 다 담바레스 담에바 마레스 거와 데 담에바 마레스 다 담비 바로 심말이에서 다 담비 바로 심말이 주세 가르레스는 아 제제 디 somewhere 마도나 티지 고카고다 다다 담이 쩨바다 니와 히르세 다 세와데 다 세와데 미티비 답에 다 되는 거죠. 그러와 미티비 답이 다 대다 다음에 뎀바 트비 쩨바스 거라 미티비 답이 다 다음에 뎀바 트비 쩨바 대다 니와시 거래세
한 다음에
다음에 뎀바 트비 쩨바 덴지 쩨바로와 미티비 답이 다다 다음에 뎀바 트비 쩨바 대다 참아 니와시 거래세 니와시 거래세 일로서와 대고선다 다 담이 쩨버래서 쩨바 담바래서 다 뒤에나들이와 다 담이 쩨버 담이 쩨버래서 다 담이 쩨버래 되게 전달이 될다 다 담이 파로도 치바래 이 비주자가서 모티비 답이 다 대다 다 대다 올와 담이 뎀바트비 올와 담이 뎀바트비 쩨바스로와 담이 뎀바트비 쩨바 타라 니와시 거래서 대송다 다 담바래서 다 담바래서
So the second one, so the first one is perfections of purity, right? So as mentioned just now, and the second one is highest self, the perfections of highest self. So similarly, the subject, truth body, is the perfections of highest self. So highest self also means that the self, which is a highest being, or holy being, or excellent being. So a highest self has the meaning of self, which refers to the holy being, or excellent being, or the highest being. So the truth body, the subject, truth body, is the perfections of highest self, because it is a body of thorough pacifications of self and the elaborations of selfless. So if we so we have to understand what does it mean by thorough pacifications of self and elaborations of selflessness. So means that this truth body is a body that has thoroughly purified the self. So self here refers specifically to the self that is imputed by ṭīkās, those non-Buddhist teachers. And not only that it is a thorough purifications of or pacifications of self, which is imputed by non-Buddhist teachers, ṭīkās, and it is also a thorough pacifications of the elaborations of selflessness. And elaborations of selflessness here refers to the elaborations of selflessness. The elaborations of selflessness as established inherently, as established truly. So elaborations of selflessness here refers to elaborations of selflessness as established truly. So this truth body, the subject truth body, is the perfections of highest self, because it is a body of thorough pacification of self and elaborations of selfless. So self refers to the self that is imputed by ṭīkās, and elaborations of selflessness means elaborations of selflessness as established truly.
다 지구대 다 대원 이제 바로 신 말이에요. 그거와 대원 이제 바로 신 말이에요. 다 동아 말에 대화를 그거와 다 가지고서 신다도 소지오는 동아서 그거와 다 대원 이제 바로 신 말에 이 진짜가 이지랑이지 풍보당서 거다. 이지랑이지 풍보서 거다 가서 레네지 말이 마차지 온게 지 그렇게 되셔요. 말이 마차지고 말이 마차다 대원에 레지라 지비 풍보이 샤는 거와 말이 마차지 온게 지비 풍보지 샤는 거. Mari Pasha wangi di jo Mari Pasha da di wangi chung lechi leti ki phungbo da di jo Mari Pasha di jo Mari Pasha ji sa da di le sepa tsama pa re di wangi chung le khanga pa re yi ji rang ji phungbo sa
yi ji rang shi phungbo ina de Mari be Pasha gi wangi chung we le ro
Mari Pasha ji wangi lechi sa le de wangi phungbo cha Mari Pachaji, Mari Pachaji wangi, Mari Pachaji wangi le, Pumbo, di wangi chui Pumbo, le de wangi chui Pumbo, Pumbo di jo, da Pumbo di jo, Mari Pachada jeba le kanga, Mari Pachada da kanda le ne sama pansa res kanda, Mari Pachada di wangi chui le ne kanga, Mari Pachada di wangi chui 레니 강가 레다 녀무 강가 뻔 꾸레스 레다 녀무 강가 뻔 꾸이 버스다 다 대화서 와다 땡도 대화 터사래서 대화도 땡도 대화 터사래 데이 바로 신발에서 땡도 대화 터사래서 땡도 대화 터사래서 와
땡도
대화 터사래서 땡도 대화 터사서가 내가 데이 바로 신발에서 땡도 대화 터지지 딱 빠지지 간다 말이 바차다 사다 대왕이 저기다 내니 강가방사랬어. 좋아. 이 혹시 내니 강가방사랬어.
And the third one is perfections of place. So here is the explanations here is different from what we discussed in the context of ordinary beings, because in the context of ordinary beings, then we say that regarding sufferings as regarding suffering as happiness is not a good thing, right? So however, here in the context of discussing about the truth body, so here the truth body is the perfections of bliss. So here is a good thing. So it is the perfections of bliss because of having reversed the aggregates of the mental nature and their causes. So similarly, the subject, truth body, is the perfections of bliss because it is a body that has reversed or opposed or overcome the aggregates of a mental nature and their causes. So first, yeah. So aggregates of a mental nature means that the aggregates of actions, aggregates of actions, aggregates of actions due to the imprints of ignorance. So aggregates of a mental nature refers to the aggregates of actions due to imprints of ignorance. So due to the imprints of ignorance, and their causes. So and their causes refers to the cause of aggregates, which is the imprints of ignorance, together with the actions and afflictions. And all these, so all these are exhaustively, because all these are completely overcome. So having reversed, right? So all these are completely overcome or reversed. So therefore, it is the perfections of bliss. So perfections of bliss also means that one who has attained the truth body has attained the everlasting happiness.
that's the policy, but that's the only answer with it. About what? That's what you call it. She will be done. She will be done. That about Tommy Paro Chimbari is that she will about Tommy Chibu, about Tommy Paro Chimbari, which is a cousin. Thank what Yangi Deva, Yandi that Rashi, you are never. Yandiro, Yandi that many beyond the Chadero. Yandi that Rashi, you are never Yambani that of good is. The little good is that Tabi is.
Yangde na de mini ben yangde se yo right.
Many Yamderwa, that many Yamdi that Rashi, you are never Yambani to but the little Chad is. Rashi, no cheaper share. The little Sonza, that can that, the little Yandi Sonza Roa, Kichi, Lenny Yogi, Kichi, Ginger, DK, Homers, Tabi, he charges. Roa, either Nemogi, the Kichi, Jiba, the DK, Chai Homers, Tabi, he charges, Yandi, the more in my charges, that.
And the last one is the perfections of permanence. So here in this context, permanence is the good thing, is the perfections of permanence. So it means that so just sorry. So let me go to 135. So here it says four misconceptions or 4 errors, right? So the 4 errors here is impermanence, the misconceptions of regarding as permanent. So with regard to the Dhammakaya. So then we go to that overcome the misconception or the errors of impermanence is the perfections of permanence. So the subject, truth body, is the perfections of highest permanence because it is a body that realizes samsara and nirvana as equal in being empty of inherent existence. I repeat, so the subject, truth body, is the perfections of highest permanence because it is a body that has realized that samsara and nirvana are equal in being empty of inherent existence. So samsara and nirvana here refers specifically to the non-abiding nirvana. So it is a body that has realized that samsara and non-abiding nirvana are equal in being empty of inherent existence. So therefore, it is because of this reason, the truth body is the perfections of the highest permanence. So highest permanence also means that it will not change. It is unchangeable by due to due to karma and afflictions. So it will not go through momentarily disintegration. So because it is the perfections of highest permanence. Then we go to verse 38. So this verse says, with wisdom it severs all clinging to self. Because of clinging to sentient beings, those endowed with compassion do not reach the extreme of peace. By trusting the methods for enlightenment, compassion, and cognition, the ayahs do not turn to the extremes of samsara and nirvana. Because the dasi maluba said the nyomongi datang seba that's all. Okay. So he says with wisdom it severs all clinging to self, right? So so to explain the so with wisdom, so wisdom here is the wisdom that realizes the modes of abiding. Then it severs all clinging to self. So it severs all clinging to self without exception. So the subject is an Arya Bodhisattva, doesn't dwell in the extremes of samsara. Doesn't dwell in the extremes of samsara means that it is not born in the samsara due to karma and afflictions. And because the wisdom that realizes the modes of abiding severs all the craving to self or clinging to self. Because of clinging to sentient beings, those endowed with compassion do not reach the extremes of peace. So it means that the subject, Arya Bodhisattvas, doesn't dwell in the extremes of peace. So extremes of peace here is the lower samsara, lower nirvana. So Arya Bodhisattvas doesn't dwell in the extremes of lower nirvana. If a bodhisattva were to dwell in the extremes of lower nirvana, then one would have fallen into the extremes of peace. And then because of clinging to sentient beings, those endowed with compassion. So those endowed with compassion refers to Arya Bodhisattvas. So Arya Bodhisattvas are those endowed with compassion, are those endowed with bodhicitta. So because of clinging to sentient beings means that because of being endowed with compassion and bodhicitta towards sentient beings. So clinging to sentient beings also means that because of being endowed with compassion and bodhicitta towards sentient beings. So therefore, they do not dwell in the extremes of peace. That's all.
다 가디 상지 카메나 둘라 쪼어 주시 냥인데라 저바다 되네 remember never you see that in that that demand raise.
So then we go to verse 39. So then it says, if the Buddha element did not exist, the aversion to suffering would not occur. There would be no wanting, no striving, no aspiration for nirvana.
되게 된다데 가디 신지질라 상지지 칸데 메나 쮸 가리어스 다디 단다 시워와 쮸 가리어스나 다 신지나지 시비 동안에 쪼와 문조 대 냥이래 제발아 되는 니와다 멤버 조와다 멤버 조와다 리치지 신지 차로 그래서 보다 간다와 리치 바스나 네 간다 신지 탄지질라 상지지 요소 거와 네 리메바 차로 신지 상지질라 리치비 신지 지고 그래서 그 상지지 리메게치 리치 요거 세고로와 오 간다오 신지라 상지지 카 매바이나 네 신지 시비 동아라 간다 쪼아 조금 말해 시비 동아라 쪼아 제그 말해 냥엔 도발 냥디 토발라 저바다 되는 니와 니 요거 말해 되라 매놈들이 토야 체 매놈 요거 막 가르스나 그 리치에서라 리메서디 내 걸려 토야 게 이와요 말스고라 내가 본디 말스고라 리치는 내가 레고 말아 예, that's also in the Sanji Kumbal, that you know, so I didn't know I must not try to Mara, did you Mara? What is it? That you the
So if the Buddha's basic element doesn't exist in the continuum of sentient beings, so if Buddha's basic element do not exist in the continuum of sentient beings, then what are the faults? Then the faults are the subject sentient beings, then they will not, the aversion to sentient beings will not occur. So this is the first fault. In other words, one will not be repulsed even by samsaric suffering. And the second one is there will be no wanting, no striving, no aspiration for nirvana. So the second one is no wanting for nirvana. So it means that one will not have the desire to attain nirvana. And the third fault is one will not strive for nirvana. And the fourth one is one will not have aspiration or wish to attain nirvana. So because if Buddha's basic element do not exist in the continuum of sentient beings, it would mean that those sentient beings are without lineage, without lineage. In other words, those sentient beings with severed lineage, means that they do not have the lineage. So in other words, they do not have, they are unable to achieve the state of enlightenment. So we say that Buddha's basic element exists in the continuum of all sentient beings, means that all sentient beings can achieve the state of enlightenment, right? So if we were to say that Buddha's basic element do not exist in the continuum of sentient beings, it would mean that those sentient beings are without the lineage, and therefore they are not able to achieve the state of enlightenment. And because of this, then they will not be wary of samsara suffering. They will not have the desire, strive, or the wish to achieve the state of enlightenment. So next verse is 140. So he says, seeing respectively the faults of suffering and the benefits of happiness in samsara and nirvana is the function of the lineage, since those without the lineage are without seeing this.
Sibi kuwa sibaga nimi kuwa sibi mani sari ta chen pe dunia na so bada nimi su tungu yore den tuwa su da den nimi di so chen di so ya joya ge nyandi de nyandi yoga cha ha ko den tungu yore se wa dunga di so ya joya koi siba koi dunga chen chama to de de le joya nyandi jin do mu de joba shi de den nyandi ji yoba tungu yore se wa nyandi ji yoba tungu de point dunga de point nyandi ji yoba tungu yore se 이 통화선다 다 리메베 신제 리메베로 리메베 신제 달라 포스디야 맞아 리치베 신제라 이 통 말해서 오로와 리치베 신제니나 내가다 거의 교통의 들려야 되는 양들이라 동고마 다제시고 말하고 동고마 리치비스니가 되어 말해서라고.
So this verse, it says that seeing respectively the faults of suffering and the benefits of happiness in samsara and nirvana is the functions of the lineage, right? So since those without the lineage are without seeing this, so just now we already talked about those sentient. If Buddha's basic element did not, if Buddha's basic element did not exist in the continuum of sentient beings, there will be faults. So then, since we already talked about it, so it means that Buddha's basic element exists in the continuum of all sentient beings. In other words, the Buddha's lineage exists in the continuum of all sentient beings. So because of having the Buddha's lineage in the continuum of all sentient beings, therefore, one sees the faults of suffering and the benefits of happiness. So when one sees the faults of samsaric suffering, then one will investigate whether there is a separation from such samsaric suffering or not. And having seen that there is a separation from samsaric suffering, one sees the benefits of happiness of samsara. Then, so, and if Buddha's basic element did not exist in the continuum of sentient beings, it would mean that those sentient beings are without a lineage. In other words, those sentient beings whose lineage were severed, then they will not see all these the faults of suffering, benefits of happiness in samsara and nirvana, because they won't even start to investigate it. So they will not even put effort in investigating this faults of suffering and so forth. So next verse is verse 41. First two lines of verse 41, it says, "Limitless like the great ocean is the lineage, source of inexhaustible jewel-like qualities." Yeah. So the meaning of this limitless like the great ocean is a lineage, source of inexhaustible jewel-like qualities. So it means the subject Tathāgata essence should be understood as being like a great ocean because it is a source of so the Tathāgata essence Okay. Yeah. So the subject Tathāgata essence should be understood as being like a great ocean because of the yeah, because the presence of the lineage in sentient beings is like the great ocean, a source of inexhaustible causal jewel-like qualities. Yeah. So because of the vessels of devotion towards the Mahāyāna Dharma, and because of the wisdom, and because of the source of inexhaustible precious jewels, precious qualities of meditative civilization. So here it talks about three things. So the subject Tathāgata essence should be understood as being like a great ocean because of the vessel of devotion towards the Mahāyāna Dharma, because of wisdom, because of the source of inexhaustible precious jewel, the qualities of meditative civilization. So today we stop here, and next class we are going to start. We are going to continue where we left off. Where we are going to stop. So next class we are going to continue where we stopped today. So we conclude with dedication. We dedicate the roots of virtue to the flourishing of Buddha Dharma and to the excellent happiness of all sentient beings. We also dedicate these roots of virtue to all upholders of Buddha's teaching, mainly His Holiness the Dalai Lama, to live eons long, to have excellent health, and may all their enlightened activities and holy wishes be accomplished instantaneously and spread in all directions. We also dedicate these roots of virtue to our beloved teacher, Gyaltsab Lama Zopa Rinpoche. May Rinpoche's holy wishes be accomplished instantaneously without any obstacle. We also dedicate these roots of virtue to world peace, and may excellent happiness prevail throughout the world. May wars, conflicts, disaster, natural disaster, pandemic, diseases be pacified immediately. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue, especially to those who pass away. May all their negativities accumulated since beginningless time be pacified immediately and quickly achieve the state of enlightenment.